Hey everybody, welcome to the Wombo podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Gimpy, along with the one, the only, the Chipped Monk. What's up, brother?
Hey man, what's happening?
Dude,
It's good to be
lot
here,
of nothing,
man.
brother. Whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, it's a nice fall day.
It is a nice fall day. Actually, yesterday was a nice fall day too. I was outside from like sun up to sun down, dude. Just enjoying the like 60-degree weather we had. It was nice. It was nice.
Yeah.
But
That's what I've been telling people. I'm like, it's perfect out there.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Other than that, man, all week long, I've just been putting my head down and designing. And so
Jeez, just grinding, dude.
just grinding, yeah.
What you designing?
I did just so within Game Maker, right? Like we discussed before, like the last time I made like a full game before, like the little one for my kids was like 8 years ago, and it was on Construct 2. So I'm like, you know what? Some of the stuff that I'm having trouble with in Game Maker is just because I don't know where it is, you know?
Yeah.
So I decided to just take the week and just do nothing but guided tutorials from Zenva Academy and Udemy, things like that. So I just or just bought some of the, classes and whatnot.
Nice, dude.
And I even just humbled myself and went, no, it's not. It's not. This is just literally what I did. I humbled myself and went from like the straight beginner classes to, and then just jumped to intermediate and advanced as well from both sites. Just to be more familiar with the engine itself. And, I pumped out 4 projects just through the guided tutorials, and then did one on my own outside of that, just using the tutorials as a base and just kind of combining mechanics and stuff.
Do they give you little certificates at the end of the courses?
They do. Both sites do. Yeah. So
dude.
Your boy's
print those
accredited.
out.
Put them up on plaques. No, but the reason why I did it is because I was talking to my people at my day job, and when I first joined that, I didn't have any experience using like SQL or like very little experience with PHP prior. But working there and getting projects related to that, and I read up on it, learned how to do it, and got better and more proficient at it. So I'm like, if I just need to do something like that with game dev, right, where I can just wrap my head around. And then I chose to do that with projects that aren't usually my forte. Like I made an auto clicker.
Welcome to the dark side.
But making that auto clicker, I learned so much stuff about like behind the scenes systems and how Game Maker handles things, and like sprite switching on the fly using one object, using a manager objects to manage game systems, and like sprite handling for like using like one enemy. So it was very interesting. It was a very I was there with the point to learn, and to the point of to not like think I'm better than the project because I've had something released before, right? It's I'm starting a new engine.
You're staying humble,
and I did it. So
nice,
that was
man.
my week. I just buckled down. I got I just figured I'd finish one of the courses, whether it's Udemy or Zenva. So that's my plan for the next couple of days. Just to get it going. And I'm going to update my own internal spreadsheet that I'll share with you after the pod. That was the projects that I want to get done in 2024. So we're working our way.
2024 is wrapping up, man, but at least we have the winter months, which is
exactly.
I tend to find my most productive months, usually like October and stuff, is when I start to get deep into game dev.
Same, and I think that's why, like end of July, August, when I really started to, grind, because it was too damn hot. It was like way too hot to go outside. So, that worked for me. It's been working. I spoke to my wife and I got her support in going for it. She's like, you haven't done anything in forever. I'm like, yeah, but I talk to Chip every week. I talk to, you guys in general, it was like, and I've had ideas that I've wanted to do, and I just, haven't made the time for myself, but I can make the time for myself for other things. So I'm just going to, go for it. And she's been supportive, and like it gives me, whether it's just to like take the kids for like an hour or two just to give me some time to do something, she's been doing it. So that's been awesome.
Nice, man.
How about yourself, man? How's the writing going? I haven't read the updates after yet. But that's like I said, that's pretty much my breakfast reading now.
Still been writing, closing in on the end of this volume of the book. I haven't written in the last 3 days. I've been taking a break to figure out how I'm going to wrap up everything, and I've come up with like some clever solutions to like kind of tie everything together. And a I will like go in and like read comments and stuff that people have been leaving, and it's made me think about things differently, about like how I don't like explain certain things or stuff I forgot about, and like I'll be like, oh yeah, I should tie that up here at the end of it, because like a lot of the stuff I have written or I understand like for my own logic inherently, but I'm not really putting that down on paper, and it's like interesting to see like what people kind of want to know more about, whereas like stuff I'm like, all right, well, it's weird but okay. You know, like, so yeah, I've got like 3 or 4 more chapters, and this is done. This will probably be like the second draft of it, and then I probably take like a month or 2 and rewrite it, almost all of it. It's gonna be a lot of cutting, a lot of like speeding certain things up, expanding certain things, and adding like a prologue to pull people into the world more. And
Okay. Is this, when you're cutting it up, is this your plan to do the demand printing for it?
After I'm done with like the 3rd edit, I don't think I'll repost it, but I'll like, you know, skim through it. Maybe I'll give it to like a beta reader or something to be like, hey, make sure everything is cool. But
Sure. Nice, man. Nice. So it's always fun but daunting to wrap up a project, and as we've been preaching on the pod so often, the last 10% is 90% of the work. So
and I'm like not sure if I don't want to if I've been putting off this last few chapters because like I'm scared of it, or if I don't want the project to end or whatever. But I think it's mostly just I've done this like a few times now, like where I don't necessarily write myself into a corner, but I'm not exactly 100% sure how I want to proceed. Like I have like an outline and all that stuff, and I know where I want to get to, but I'm not sure how I'm getting there, you know, a lot of the time. It's a weird like hybrid. I know like they call like, you know, pantsers or plotters, where it's like you either like outline or you just kind of let the characters discover the world or whatever. But so I've also been like you've been doing those courses. I've been also like listening to writing lectures a lot. Like, so I think maybe that's also derailed me a little bit, is like I've just been listening to like writing lectures all week, like in between writing, where I'm like, all right, where can I improve? How can I improve? Like, what can I do? And I don't know, a lot of it doesn't necessarily apply to the genre I'm writing, but you know, it's good advice nonetheless. So
take the sources, make your own knowledge base for it. Nothing wrong with
aside from that, just been playing a ton of Hearthstone, watching lectures, and it feels like I'm accomplishing stuff.
Right. I actually haven't been gaming this week. I've just been creating, honestly. I think the only time like I stopped to play like 1 round of Deadlock with some buddies, and nothing else really. I've just been grinding on the game front. So, but the kids also went back to school, so I've been dealing with that. So you know it is. But man, it sounds awesome that you keep on keeping on. So, but that being said, something big happened.
Speaking of Deadlock, dude.
That we all kind of assumed was going to happen, but the fact that it happened so quick is surprising. 2 weeks after launch, I believe it was 2 weeks. Sony closed down Concord. It was supposed to be their, you know, summer flagship game to hold us over until like fall, and you know, the generic ass looking game, in my opinion, just fell flat, and you know, no one bought. I think they made like $1 million or $2 million or something on like a ridiculous budget, and then they're refunding it to everyone.
50 million, and that's just development, 8 years.
I
was talking to you a little bit before. It's like they brought in like all these like big names, and like it's on paper the team you'd expect to put out like a AAA banger, where you're like, this should work. It just seemed a little misplaced with like the genre they chose.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because you say a AAA banger, but they priced it as a like smaller project. They priced it at $40 versus the AAA price. But they tried to do what Overwatch 1 did with a small price point adoption to build the community fast. They tried to do what Overwatch did, but they did it 10 years later, which is like, the hell are you doing? You know?
It seemed like they saw Overwatch and they're like, let's build that. And it took them 8 years, which, you know, was a lot. But, you know, you figure in pre-production, everything else, and then like you start spinning up teams and combining and then build the studio.
Sure.
So it's like they're like, let's just copy Overwatch's homework. But they're like so entrenched in the market. And then they also went free to play within that same time frame, where it's like, man, the buy-in's completely different. The market scape is completely changed. a lot of
Yeah.
well, just in general for like that like team-based party. Like we have like was it that Marvel game out there now where it's like if you
Rivals,
want like you have Rivals where it's like this is a way better, more recognizable IP. You have Overwatch, they fixed Team Fortress 2, Deadlock also is there still. You know, we saw like this also right when Overwatch launched, where they had like all these other competitors to the same genre, like Lawbreakers and Paladins, and there's a few other ones we've talked about them before. But yeah, man. So wow.
Yeah. Now, people are like, "Why did it fail? Why did it fail?" I think that the writing was on the wall from the first trailer they released of Concord.
Sure, it should have been killed in the cradle. Should have been killed in
cradle. Yes. From horrible character designs, I was talking to Sir Solace, who I definitely value his opinion on like design and art quite a bit.
Yeah,
but we were both saying that this is like these character designs are an affront to art. You know what I mean? Like they're actively attacking art. Like there is no character design in Concord that I would want to see ever again. Sony's releasing, Amazon in a partnership with Sony and other studios are releasing a anthology TV show where you are in game worlds, and it's like there's an Armored Core episode. There's the Armored Core one is really Warhammer episode. There's other stuff right where you're in a game world. I think Final Fantasy's one. But one of the worlds was Concord.
Yeah.
I like that. Who cares, right? Like
Dang.
I wasn't interested in the world building. I wasn't interested in any of the characters. I would know none of their characters when that episode comes out. So the fact that Sony decided to can the game this early, with that episode of the show coming out, I'm wondering if that episode will be scrapped as well because no one's going to know the Concord characters.
They did all those cinematics and stuff for like the trailers and stuff, and everyone's like, "This looks bland. Like I don't know what this is, and I'm not interested in what it is." You know, it's like, this looks like weird generic Guardian of the Galaxies, but we already have that with like Rivals and Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't need the Kmart knockoff Timo version of that.
Yeah. It's definitely the product of game creation by committee. It's like, what's popular, guys? All right, what do we need? Diversity. So they're like, let's make these characters as diverse as possible. And in that, they lost what makes character design unique and fun. You got to make the characters look cool to play as well, right?
Yeah,
you got to make them
really
at least aesthetically pleasing or like absurdly ugly to the point where people are like, I'm going to pick this weird dude, right? Like, and people are saying, oh, the game looked bad, so that's why I don't want to play it. I disagree with that. That's not why no one played it. The game looked bland is why no one would play it.
Yeah, it's like there's this whole subgenre. I saw like a YouTube video, somebody was breaking it down better than we could here, but they're talking about like there's a whole subgenre of art that's coming out right now of like artists who make fake screenshots for like their art, where it's like it's not a game or anything. It's like they'll paint or do a cartoon and then like make it look like it's in some sort of video game you've never seen or played, and it's like become like a whole genre, and it's like really captures your imagination. And we've talked about this before as well with like concept art and stuff where you want to be able to feel the game before you play it, almost like something like screenshots and stuff. Like they did this with like magazines and stuff all through like the 90s and early 2000s, where it's like I want to see what that game is, or you can imagine yourself like playing whatever type of game it is. That goes a long way, I think. And I've also talked about it here on the pod with like dioramas and stuff, where you're like studying like these dioramas to capture a moment or a feeling or a story, a bigger story, like in just a still image. It's hard to do. Like,
it is. It is. One of my favorite games, it's a immersive sim that came out that looks ugly as sin, is Cruelty Squad. That game, gameplay-wise, is absolutely amazing. And then when you're playing it, the ugly world just kind of... You get it from a story perspective. You get why it looks like that. Like the world itself like story-wise, is ugly. So it
Yeah.
reflects what your site reflects what the world is. So I thought that was an amazing meta commentary in the game. And maybe the guy who created it, maybe he just couldn't make things look nice, right? So
Yeah, but he
he
made
just
like an
wrote
aesthetic
around it.
choice.
But
Yeah.
maybe it's the greatest artist of all time, and that was the choice. I don't know. I haven't researched it, but from me playing the game, this is kind of what I got from it, and it made me enjoy it even more. But with Concord, it had, from the first trailer to the like interviews about the game, early play tests, there was nothing unique about it. There was nothing that anyone who worked on the game, it had zero heart. No one was
Yeah.
passionate about the project when they spoke about it. It was always, oh, we want players to do this. We're going to build a community around that. And like,
Oh, they didn't even call people players. They were like consumers.
Consumers, yeah.
Yeah, they went like straight up marketing terminology where it's like a huge turnoff to
Yep.
people. It's like,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
so what consumers really want is like, blah, 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 and you're like, whoa, what? Yeah, like, I'm just,
Yeah.
yeah, consumers like, well, we'll eat whatever, man, but we want to eat good, bro.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. But that being said, Sony has been kind of trying this for a while. You mentioned it off
yeah,
the pod, but I'll ask it here. Sony has been trying to kind of capture that like quality of having a live service game where it's exclusively to your platform, so people are
yeah,
on your platform interacting, sharing screenshots, just creating
yeah,
using something you made. And the first one that really worked for Sony was Destiny, when they bought the studio, Bungie, right? Like all of the stuff came to PlayStation
yeah.
first, and then expanded on. But they'd had to be using their product. But Bungie's one of the things where they kind of have their own separate community. Yes, Sony was publishing it, but it never felt so Sony outside of the timed exclusives. So
Yeah.
Sony's trying to take what Bungie did and do something with something that they incubated, that you could just have to be in the PlayStation fold now. And I think that's just a
I mean,
stupid approach, right?
they had that massive success though. What was it that just came out with the bugs? It's like a Starship Troopers.
Helldivers too.
Yeah, that's was a Sony exclusive, and that did banger, dude. Like I think they moved like 15 million copies or
But
something.
then
Like,
they tried to ruin it by requiring PlayStation login
yeah, and then
to do
like
it on PC.
they ended up like banning the game in like a bunch of countries because like they don't have PlayStation login, and then they like rolled it back a little.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's been a long-term strategy of them where they
Their
want
greed
to.
is hurting the devs.
It's not necessarily greed, but they want to pivot into a social platform. But they haven't like put the foundations in for that. They just want like, oh, if we just make like a big double or triple A TED pool, like people will come and then we'll figure it out from there. Like I don't know, they did stuff with like screenshots and sharing and all this stuff, but like I don't, if they came in to us and we didn't charge them our usual consulting fee, like moving forward, I would say instead of building like these bigger games, if your immediate goal is to make a social platform, they need to like just look at mobile. Look at what mobile's done. I know like 8 years ago when you're developing the mobile platforms weren't where they are today, but like look at that. Look at like things like Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or Discord. Like big software tech. Just do that. Like you don't even have to like go too far. Like people want to be able to talk shit to each other. They want to be able to leave voice messages to each other. They want to be able to share like screenshots. You can have like these smaller A games that have like social hooks. Like you could easily produce a Stardew Valley like knockoff where like our Farmville, where like I can go on PlayStation with all my buddies and we can build out like a huge community of farms and like work together. Or like Factoria, where it's like imagine like a bunch of us have like little plots and we're building like a mega factory or something. There's already games out there. There's already platforms out there that are doing this. It's weird that they're like trying to reverse engineer it from like
Me Too. Yeah.
They're like, what do they have? What's big? How can people enjoy Fortnite or Overwatch? Let's just make a bootleg version of that.
Can I tell you what I think?
Yeah,
I disagree with the looking at mobile. I think they have to weaponize the community around the games they already have.
Okay.
Do content like cosplay contests, right? Do fan
Sly
art
Cooper.
contests. Do something
Killzone.
they have these IPs that they're not using. So
Yeah.
do something around these IPs. Get the fans
Spyro.
involved. Go. Okay, design your own character. Do something to get the fans' creativity involved. How we have the esports just juggernaut that we have right now in certain games. They all began through grassroots projects from the fans.
Yeah.
Right. The reason why Overwatch esports is dead in the water is because, especially Overwatch 2, was designed from the ground up to be an esport game, and yuck, like you could feel the ick on that game when you play it.
Also like
ruins trying to go back
team
to
comp and play, like you can't just play for fun without being like flamed by your teammates because like you're not part of the meta. It's like I just want to play my favorite character, dude. Like
yep.
And 9 times out of 10, you're most likely better off just doing that. Like if you have like a high skill competency and ability in a certain character,
right,
you're going to perform better doing that than you would like trying to fall in some weird ass meta that like you don't even like a role you don't even want to play. Like you'll be out of position, like all this other stuff. Like
yep.
Yeah.
So I feel, and why Overwatch still maintains, right? But Overwatch, like people say it's dying all the time, but its baseline population is still super healthy. And the reason, and one of the reasons why is not only is the game, fun, right? But the characters are cool, right? The character, like everyone has a character in Overwatch that they latch onto that they like. And this is what Concord failed at. No character. I challenge anyone to look at that roster in Concord and to tell us with a straight face that they liked this character and why.
There's a couple of characters that looked okay.
No. See, okay.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay does not work. So I need a character that you are like, this is the character I'm going to play immediately because they look amazing. For me in Overwatch, but when that game first came out, was Reaper. I thought Reaper looked cool as hell. And he
Soldier
cool
76. They made him gay. They did, dude. They're like, he's gay, like randomly one day. All right, I didn't need to know all that.
Yeah, that's the inclusivity part where it's like, oh, everyone's
weird. It's like we're gonna include this, but not put it anywhere, and only tweet about it or whatever. It's weird.
Did they tweet about it? I thought it was like a part of like one of his character things, right? Like
it's probably like a little blurb or whatever. It's like,
I think that's fine. I think like so many gay characters now. It's like one of those things. Okay,
it just seemed like out of nowhere, like tacked on, like it didn't
if
build
people
like in the world or anything.
If people need to feel included, just by having a popular character be gay, I don't care. Okay, it seems like you're fishing for the compliment versus making the character and making just that like, being a part of the character.
We're changing our profile picture for this month, like to we got it
right. But yeah, dude, I think that Sony should stop chasing this ball and
chasing the cloud.
And with Sony in the lead in the console wars right now, and for the foreseeable future, let's be honest.
I don't know, man. Microsoft buying up Bethesda. And
we'll talk about
Blizzard
that next week because I got some gripes now. But I think that Sony is just playing with found money now, and that outside of their like single player exclusives, they haven't had that multiplayer banger that keeps people recycling over and over and over again,
showing up at day to day.
The biggest game on each platform is a third party game. Well, now it's a Microsoft game, right? Because Call of Duty.
Yeah,
it's like they're trying to get that killer app, and they're trying to get that killer multiplayer app that they just haven't done yet, and it's because they're doing games by committee. That's where I'll leave that.
I don't know, man. I think like any organization that gets to a significant amount size ends up being designed by committee. I've also heard from like former game devs that
gay game devs.
Yeah, actually, 100%. Like the guy who worked on Fallout, he's a gay gentleman, but it's neither here nor there. But he said that like when he went to go work on the Other Worlds, Outer Worlds, they wouldn't do anything. Like he would be like, hey, I want to put up like on a whiteboard like what everyone's task is, and like people like were against it. They're like, if you do that, I will leave this company. He was like, I want you guys to like quickly program in like a placeholder thing so we can like have combat stats. And they're like, yeah, that'll take us like 2 weeks to do. He's like, no, I've programmed something like this before. It'll take maybe an hour, 2 at most. And they're like, no, I can't do that. It's going to take 2 weeks. And then they like walked off. So he like talked to the lead and he's like, is this really important? He's like, yeah. He's like, hold on. And he comes back. He's like, yeah, we can do this in like a week and a half. Like, and he's like, what is this? He's like, I could program this before lunch. But like, it seems like everyone's like afraid to like take any responsibility when an organization gets to a big enough scale. You know, like they want like a higher up. They want everything. They want to be like assigned work rather than like, oh, I can just do this and this will make the game better. You know, and there can be cascading problems and failures, like if everyone's like, you know, going cowboy and doing their own thing. But it also is what made a lot of 90 and 2000 games great, is like somebody being like, you know, I think I will make this glass destructible and the water level change. And I'm just going to spend a day or two doing this. And most people
having multiplayer was one guy over a weekend. So, yeah. So
imagine like if he was just like, nah, I'm not going to do that. Somebody didn't approve this. We got to wait to hear back from, you know, the stakeholders who own the 007 IP for the movie rights. We got to wait to hear back from the studio. We got to wait to hear back from our director. Right? You know, imagine if they just been like, oh, let's wait on all that instead of just being like, yeah, let's just go for it. Whatever.
Yep.
And then it becomes, you know, like the biggest selling point of that game. Yeah.
That's true. And that's time, brother. And that's time.
All right. Yeah.
So I think
we don't
crux
no
of what
solutions.
we have here is we don't have a solution. We have idea. We have crackerjack ideas, but
mine is, you know, start kind of like what you were saying. Mine is like smaller mobile game style things that'll hook players into wanting to use Sony as a platform in general, rather than like these big TED pulls, because you're chasing old money and like it's a fool's errand. Yours was make, what was it? You're talking about some,
what? The design by committee or
what was your solution for him? You're like,
weaponize the fan base.
Weaponize the fan base.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You're like, they've already winning. You're like, huh? It's so generic, dude. It's a.
Mine is generic, or
it feels.
They're not doing it though.
It's true.
Like it's generic. Like vanilla's a flavor, like the main flavor for a reason. They're not doing. They're not making vanilla right now, man. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they have a lot of great IPs in their library.
Yep. Well, we'll discuss what I think about Bethesda and stuff right now. I think Microsoft is shooting itself in the foot, but that's for next week. All right. Like, share, subscribe.
Got smoke for everyone. We out.
We out of here. Later.